So thanks for joining the today's session. So myself, Muthupriya Palaniappan. So I am having an experience of 10 years in software testing. I'm working as a Centrica. I'm working in Centrica as a senior automation engineer. This is a bit introduction of myself. This is my LinkedIn profile. You can follow me in LinkedIn also. So this is the agenda today. Today I am going to talk about what is Flaky test, what is the root cause for the Flaky test, how can Cypress can help to overcome the Flaky test, then learning lessons from the error, then how to build the reliable test when comes into the automation, then finally a Q&A. So let's start with very basic. What is Flaky test exactly? A Flaky test is a test that sometimes passes and sometimes fails without any changes to the code. It's unreliable, misleading, and can erode confidence in your CI/CD pipeline. So, if you look into the screenshot, these are the main characteristics of Flaky test. It will provide us an inconsistency in test result and unreliable fail or pass status. So that's the reason most of our teams can lost their test when comes into the test automation because of the Flaky test. The Flaky test are common and costly problem in software testing. So it may affect in software quality as well as the development. So according to the Google, Flaky test accounted 60 percentage of failure, and also according to the Microsoft study, Flaky test cost around 1.16 million per year. That's the reason we are telling Flaky test are common and costly when comes into the automations. So this is overview of what is the Flaky test. Let's dive into what are the main root cause for the fakiness. These are the most problem when comes into the Flaky test. First one is timing issue, then the networking delay, then unstable selector, shared state, then external dependency. I will touch up each individual bit little bit. So first, the timing issue. This is one of the most common problem when comes into the Flaky test. So let's assume like sometimes our test will run perfectly fine. The next day, the same test, if we are trying to execute, it will fail. The error says element not found. But we didn't change any script. We didn't touch any backend system. Our front end application, simply it says the element not found. That's because your test run faster than your front end application. That is the main cause for the timing issue. So if you look into the screenshot, what we are trying to do, we are trying to get the DOM, then we are trying to assert the element. So before trying to get the DOM, what usually we need to understand here, every time we are interacting with the DOM element, the DOM takes couple of seconds to load into the web page before the appear loads. How the Cypress helping here? So Cypress comes with the automatically retry commands with the element appears. That is the first way of handling the fakiness. Then the second one, instead of hard coding the wait or static wait, cy.wait, we can go with the timeout. So it will clearly says like the DOM wait for the specific time, then it will try to interact with your web page, then do the assertion. This is the smart way of handling the timing issue. Then before doing the assertion, try to have a assertion for whether the element is present or not in your web page. So these are the main reason for timing issue. Let's move into the networking delay. The networking delay, it's another common issues when comes into the Flaky test. How we can handle the networking delay? Let's see. Sometimes the UI depends on the API data. Most of the time the API data are very slow and unpredictable also. So when the UI loads before the data arrivals, that also happen most of the system. So how to handle the networking delay here? So to handle the networking delay, instead of every time waiting for the real response to the networking, we can go with the cy.intercept. That is the one of the fantastic features in Cypress. So after intercept that respective API, immediately no need to wait, do the assertion or validation with your front end application. We need to wait for that response, whether it should be 200 or 404, 504, something like that. We need to wait for the status code. Once the status code is successful, then try to do assertion. This is how we can smartly handle the networking delays also. Then unstable selector, this is another silent test killer when it comes into the automation. So if you looked into the screenshot here, I have attached the two combination of selector, one with the auto generated id or css selector, another one is uh, data attributes. So always we need to focus on a stable selector when it comes into the automation. If there is no stable selector, we need to talk with our respective development team to try to get the stable selector before interact with any automation test suite. So how we can handle the unstable selector here? So if you feel that is the unstable selector, try not to do the automation as a regression pack, as a hold, as a like a smoke test, something like that. So for stable selector, go with the data attributes here. Either you can go with the ids or classes. Instead of going with the auto generated one, go with the always stable selector, which gives more confidence to your automation, and also we can turn our test into reliable test. And also if you look into the screenshot, always try to add the before each also. So whenever we are trying to integrate with our DOM element or integrate with our backend system, try to reset that also, reset the API or reset the database, whatever the backend we are using. Try to reset that method also, so that it will give boost to your automation suite. Then the third one is the third party. Finally, the external dependency. You might have the analytical uh, payment gateway or other API services also we may use in our automation. So if we are believing like a third party system necessarily needed for automation, always go with the mock or stub in our automation framework. That is the one of the smartest way to handle this kind of scenario. Instead of going to get the real API, go with the mocking. That is the smartest way to do that one. If you see, sometimes our services are down, even though your test automation is fine, your front end is fine, but it end up with the test case failure. The reason the services is down. So in that case, go with the stub or mock with the help of intercept option. Then the shared state. Have you ever had a test like when we run our test alone, it will work perfectly fine, but if we run via group, it will fail. That is called shared states. So sometimes in our test automation, either we need to go with the shared state or else unshared state. So first we will talk about how to handle the shared state here. So we know from Cypress 12 version, Cypress automatically rolled out the feature test isolation. By default, test isolation is enabled for all our test scenario. But if you want to handle with the shared states, instead of enabling turn off the test isolation for complete suite, for the particular test scenario alone, you can turn off that feature, which gives extra boost to your coverage also. This is how we can handle the shared states. If you see here in this screenshot, we have like in the before each, first try to understand whether the shared states is available. If it is available, then try to do the visit into the respective page, then do the assertion. Without doing the before each, if we are trying to do visit the page, then definitely that particular scenario will be failed because the B test runs first. That is the root cause for the shared. So these are the common root cause for that Cypress. These are the root cause for the fakiness when it comes into the automation. Now we understand what are the common mistakes we have did in our automation, how we turned from mistakes to miseries. So I touched up like a networking tab, then how to keep like an independent test with the help of the shared test also. Then with the help of before each, always starts with the clear your cookie between the each test, which help robot your test and also give more reliable and stable feature in your automation. Then let me talk about little bit how to investigate and fix the fakey test. So here, first we need to understand like what is the root cause for the failure, how many times we are getting the fakey test. With we can handle with the smart handling. We can monthly we can log the data, how we can able to do identify the fakey test with the help of the below root cause. Then instead of going with the UI based authentication, always go with the API based login, which gives extra features to you. Because if the UI downs or backend system is down, means always go with the API based login, because we are every time we are clearing the cache and also clearing the local storage, it will give like a extra confidence to your automation. Let's talk about like a fearless with the Cypress gives us everything. It gives most beautiful inbuilt feature with extraordinary best practices also. The first one, clearing the application state. This is one of my favorite features in Cypress. The reason, before starting any test, starts with the clear state. So Cypress gives a full control of browser window object here. So you can combine cy.window with before each hooks, so that every time if you kickstart the automation, it will clear with the clear state. Then debugging and logging. Cypress is not just for your runner guys. It works as a interactive debugger. If you are closely working with the developer tools, then the cy.debugger it's your friend. So we can understand what's going on inside your browser, and also cy.debugger act as a JavaScript within inside the Cypress. That is the interesting feature. And cy.pause. If you are middle of the execution, if you want what's going on inside your Cypress test, here we can use cy.pause also. Then time control with the cy.log and cy.tick. So we have a full control of timing system also. If you have a scenario with a timing based, instead of ignoring like that is not feasible when it comes into the automation, still we can handle with the help of cy.clog and cy.click. Then fixtures for dynamic data. This is act as a test data store management. If you want to store mock data, we can go with the features. We can combine features with with the intercept also, so it will give like a more reusable, standardized, and easy to maintenance also when it comes into the automation. I touched up a little bit test isolation, so I'm ignoring that point. Then ignore message and customs. So Cypress gives like a reusable functions for the commands, so you can use n number of reusable code. We can centralized with the commands with click element, those kind of commands we can still go with that commands. This way we can avoid having that fakiness in your test. Then Cypress comes with the in test retry. Cypress automatically have retry for each commands before interacting with the element, as well as the retry also. Then security handling. So security is not optional when it comes into the automation. It's very essential and very necessary to automation. So how to handle the secure security? We have a like a environment file. You can don't hard code inside your automation automation code. Always go with that environment configuration, store all your environment variables key during the runtime, read that file, then it will give like more confident when comes into the automation. We are not leaking any security issues also, because now the security plays important roles for automation. Why it is important for the modern words? Because most of our company needs a reliable test for modern development application. So when comes into the CI, like most of the time we are facing with the fakey test. So our test are critical. We need to more securely save our test automation with reducing the fakiness, and let's ship us fast with more confident. So why does matter? So we need to give the confidence not only a developer, to our entire product teams, as well as the stakeholders. Developers trust the pipeline, focus on building, not babysitting test. We are not babysitting our test, right? So once we reduce our fakey test, it will give more reliable, stable in your automation script. Then we can easily fast our feedback loop also. No need to rerun every time when fakey test occurs. Identify the reason for the failure, understand the root cause. Then with the smart handling of fakey, we can understand what are the reason for failure. Then better collaboration with the Q&A developers as the DevOps. That is important roles to share the source code of truth. Then business impact. So if we reduce the fakiness, if we increase the reliable test in our modern development, bugs can caught easily at the beginning stage itself. So it reduce the downtime, and also it reduce the cost also. Not only we are reducing the QA downtime or development time, downtime, at the same time we are reducing our cost also. That is very important. At the same time, we are giving the excellent user experience to the customer and protects our brand.